Kale walked slowly through the dusty streets of the village, his head low, his shoulders heavy with shame. The villagers laughed at him again, pointing fingers and whispering cruel words behind his back. "There goes Kale, the weak one," they said. "He can't even lift a stick properly." Kale clenched his fists, trying to ignore them, but the laughter pierced his heart. He had always been small and weak, never able to fight like the other young men. Every time the elders trained the boys for battle, Kale was last in line, always falling behind, always mocked. Even his own brother, strong and proud, would shake his head at him with disappointment. One hot afternoon, Kale wandered to the edge of the village, near the cliffs where the wind howled and strange birds circled above. He felt a pull toward a narrow path hidden between jagged rocks. Something strange was calling him as he stepped carefully along the path. He noticed a faint glow inside a dark cave. Curious, Kale entered the cave slowly, the walls cold and damp. Shadows danced as his torch flickered. At the very back of the cave, half buried in dust and stones, he saw it a spear, broken but shining with a soft blue light. Strange markings ran along its shaft, glowing faintly as Kale touched it. The moment his fingers brushed the spear, Kale felt a sudden warmth, a strange energy running through his body. He stumbled back, amazed. The villagers always told him he was useless, weak, forgotten, but now he felt something different, something powerful. Suddenly, a voice echoed in his mind, soft but firm. "You are chosen," it said. Kale froze, unsure if he was dreaming or if the cave itself spoke to him. "Chosen? For what?" he whispered. The voice did not answer again, but the spear seemed to hum in his hands, as if alive. Kale studied the spear carefully. Turning it in his hands, the metal was old, cracked, and bent in places, yet it felt lighter than any weapon he had ever held. "Why me?" he asked aloud, his voice shaking. "I am nothing, just a weak boy." Yet a strange confidence began to grow inside him. Hours passed as Kale examined the cave, finding carvings on the walls that told stories of warriors long gone. They spoke of heroes who were laughed at, mocked, and ignored, just like him. But these heroes had risen to greatness, chosen by an ancient law that protected life itself. Kale's heart pounded. He wondered if he could be the next. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed from outside the cave. Kale jumped, dropping the spear, and rushed to the entrance. He saw smoke rising from the village, dark clouds on the horizon. Something dangerous was coming. A shiver ran down his spine. The fear he always knew was now real. Kale gripped the broken spear tightly, the blue glow reflecting in his eyes. For the first time, he did not feel weak. He felt chosen, though he did not yet understand why. The villagers might still laugh at him, but he knew one thing: his life, and perhaps the fate of many, was about to change forever. He took a deep breath, his small hands holding the heavy responsibility of the spear. The wind howled around him, carrying whispers of battles to come. Kale did not know if he was ready, but deep inside, something told him he could not run. Something told him the weak boy laughed at by all might become a hero. And as he stepped out of the cave, the sun setting behind him, Kale knew this was only the beginning. Kale returned to the village as quickly as he could, the broken spear still clutched tightly in his hands. The streets that had once felt familiar now seemed strange and quiet, too quiet. A sense of danger hung in the air, making the hair on his neck stand up. Suddenly, a loud roar shook the ground, and the villagers looked up in fear. Dark shapes appeared on the horizon, moving fast and heavy. Machines, unlike anything Kale had ever seen, with metal, claws and glowing eyes, were heading straight for the village. The villagers screamed and ran, some grabbing children, others hiding in their homes. Kale's heart raced, but he did not move. He felt the spear hum in his hands, as if telling him to act. The village elders ran toward him, faces pale and fearful. "Kale," one shouted, "the prophecy. You must protect us." Kale frowned, confused and scared, but he could see the truth in their eyes. The elders had always doubted him, but now they were begging him to stand. He stepped forward, the spear glowing brighter as the first of the invaders reached the village gates. Kale raised it, trying to remember the stories he had seen in the cave, of heroes who had been chosen, heroes who had faced impossible odds and survived. Kale whispered to himself, "I will try. I will protect them," though he still felt small and weak. The invaders struck first, machines crashing into houses, fire spreading. Kale dodged a metal claw and swung the spear awkwardly. Surprisingly, it cut through the machine's armor like it was nothing. The blue glow from the spear flared, and Kale felt power he had never known. Villagers peeked from their hiding places, astonished. Could this weak, mocked boy really fight? Kale's heart pounded, but he focused on the task. Each swing of the spear careful and precise. Each strike seemed to teach him something. The spear guiding his movements. The machines faltered, their glowing eyes flickering as if confused. A young girl, no older than 10, ran toward the chaos, screaming. Kale saw her just as a machine lunged at her. Without thinking, he dashed forward, blocking the attack with the broken spear. The machine crashed to the ground, sparks flying, and the girl fell into Kale's arms. Trembling, "It's okay," he said, trying to sound braver than he felt. The elders watched from a distance, whispering among themselves. Could this be him? The one chosen by the ancient law? Kale did not hear them. His mind focused entirely on the battle. He realized that the villagers' laughter and mockery no longer mattered. The spear had chosen him, and that choice was bigger than fear or doubt. As the last of the invaders reached, the village lay in ruin, smoke rising from shattered homes. Kale stood in the middle of the street, the broken spear glowing faintly. His small hands trembled, but a new determination burned inside him. He had defended the girl, saved lives, and survived a fight that would have killed anyone else. For the first time, Kale understood that being weak did not mean being useless. The power of the spear was real, but so was his courage. Something inside him had changed. He had stepped into the path of destiny, though he did not yet know what it demanded. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in blood-red colors, Kale looked at the village, at the frightened faces, and knew one thing. The threat was not gone. It was only the beginning, and it would have to rise again to protect those who had once mocked him. The morning after the attack, Kale walked through the village, the broken spear still glowing faintly in his hands. The streets were quiet now, but the smell of smoke and burnt wood lingered. Villagers peeked from behind doors, some with hope, others with doubt, but all watched him carefully. Kale felt different, stronger. Though his body still ached from the battle, he had faced the machines, saved the girl, and survived. Something inside him had shifted. He knew he could not remain the weak boy everyone mocked. The spear had awakened something inside him. The elders gathered him near the village square, their faces serious. "Kale," one said, "you have the spirit of a protector, but strength alone is not enough. You must learn to control the spear, to understand its power, for greater threats are coming." Kale nodded, trying to hide his fear. I will try," he whispered. Over the next days, Kale trained with the spear, swinging it against trees, rocks, and targets the elders set. At first, he stumbled, tripped, and hit himself more than anything. But slowly, the spear seemed to guide him, moving in his hands as if it had a mind of its own. Each strike felt lighter, each movement sharper. Villagers began to notice, whispers of amazement spreading quickly. "Look at Kale," they said. "He fights like a hero." Some of the same people who mocked him before now watched with wide eyes, their disbelief mixed with fear and awe. Kale ignored it, focusing only on learning. One afternoon, while training near the village edge, Kale saw smoke rising in the distance. A small group of invaders had returned, more organized, more dangerous than before. Panic ran through the village, but Kale stepped forward. Spear in hand, calm for the first time, he charged toward the enemy. The spear glowing brighter with every step. The invaders tried to strike, but Kale moved with new skill, dodging and parrying. He had never felt so alive, each swing precise, each movement guided by something ancient. The young girl he had saved earlier ran alongside, cheering quietly, her fear replaced by hope. Kale fought tirelessly, and with each successful strike, he realized something important. Strength alone was not enough. It was courage, heart, and belief that made a hero. The spear did not choose him because he was the strongest. It chose him because he had the will to stand when others ran. When the last invader fell, Kale stood in the field, chest heaving, spear in hand. The villagers ran to him, some crying, others cheering. The same people who had mocked him now bowed their heads in respect. The boy they once laughed at had become a protector in their eyes, but Kale knew this was only the beginning. The invaders had retreated, but the threat was far from over. He felt the ancient energy in the spear pulsing, warning him, guiding him, telling him that greater dangers lay ahead, and deep inside, Cale felt a strange mix of fear and excitement for the first time. Cale realized that being chosen meant responsibility, sacrifice, and courage. He was no longer the forgotten boy, but the rising hero, ready to face whatever came next. And as the sun set behind him, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson, Cale lifted the broken spear, knowing that he would protect his people, no matter the cost. Cale could feel the weight of the spear in his hands, but it no longer felt heavy. The glow from the broken metal pulsed gently, almost like it was alive. He had defended the village twice now, but a part of him still wondered why he had been chosen. That night, Cale returned to the hidden cave, hoping for answers. The walls glowed faintly under the torchlight, revealing more carvings and ancient symbols. Cale studied them carefully, tracing his fingers over the shapes, trying to understand. Suddenly, the markings shifted in the firelight, forming images of warriors, battles, and a lore older than the village itself. Cale gasped, realizing the spear was not just a weapon, it was part of something much greater, something ancient and powerful. A voice echoed in the cave again, clear and commanding. The spear chooses, the protector of life, one who can stand when others fall. It calls the brave, the pure of heart, to defend the weak and uphold the balance of all things. Cale's eyes widened, the truth settling over him like a wave. The law, Cale whispered. I am part of it. The voice answered with a pulse of energy through the spear, affirming him. He finally understood that the broken spear was not just a tool. It was a symbol, a bond between him and the ancient law itself. Cale trained harder than ever, mastering the spear's movements and unlocking new powers. The glow would flare when danger approached, the weapon guiding him instinctively. He realized that the spear could amplify courage, focus, and skill, but it could not fight alone. Cale himself had to grow stronger. One morning, scouts returned with alarming news. A large force of invaders was marching toward the village, led by a new enemy, taller, stronger, and crueler than the last. Cale could sense the spear pulsing faster, warning him of the danger. He knew this enemy would not retreat, not without a battle that could decide the fate of all. The villagers gathered, frightened and uncertain, but they now looked at Cale for hope. He felt the responsibility settling on his shoulders like never before. The ancient law had chosen him, and the spear had made him ready, but would he be enough to face this new threat? Cale gripped the broken spear, the blue glow brightening as he focused. He had trained, fought, and survived, but now the real test would begin. He looked at the village one last time, the homes, the people, and the girl he had saved. Lyra. His resolve hardened. The enemy was coming, unstoppable and merciless. Cale understood that courage was no longer enough. He had to master the spear, trust the law, and believe in himself completely. The fate of the village, and perhaps many others, rested in his hands, and as the wind howled across the cliffs and the sun rose blood-red in the sky, Cale lifted the broken spear high, ready to face the challenge. The secrets of the spear were clear now, its power real, and its choice eternal. Cale was no longer just the mocked boy of the village. He was its protector, and the chosen hero of the ancient law. The sun rose in a pale, cold light, casting long shadows over the village. Cale stood at the edge of the cliffs, the broken spear glowing fiercely in his hands. The enemy had arrived, larger and stronger than anything he had faced before, with monstrous machines and armored soldiers. Marching without fear, the villagers huddled behind walls and debris, whispering prayers. Their hope rested entirely on Cale, the boy they had once mocked. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, but he did not flinch. His heart burned with courage, and the spear pulsed as if urging him forward. Cale charged toward the enemy, the ground shaking beneath his feet. He dodged the first wave of attacks, swinging the spear with precision. Each strike seemed to flow naturally, as though the spear itself guided him. Sparks flew, metal clashed, and the machines fell one by one. The enemy commander, taller and armored in black steel, stepped forward, eyes glowing with malice. He swung a massive weapon at Cale, who barely dodged, feeling the wind of its strike brush past him. Cale knew this was the real test, the battle that would decide everything. He focused, remembering the lessons of the cave, the whispers of the ancient law. The spear's glow intensified, and Kale felt a surge of power like never before. He leaped forward, striking the commander's armor. The broken spear shattering the metal but leaving him unharmed. The commander stumbled, surprised by the boy's strength. Kale's movements became faster, sharper, unstoppable. He moved with the grace of the chosen protector, dodging every attack, finding every weak point. Each swing of the spear released energy that seemed to flow from the ancient law itself. Machines fell around him, sparks lighting the battlefield. Like stars, the villagers watched, eyes wide, mouths open. Some cried, some cheered, all amazed at the hero standing before them. The boy who had been laughed at, the one they had ignored, was now the force that could not be stopped. Kale fought, with his heart, not just his hands. Every striker promised to protect. Finally, the commander fell, defeated. The remaining machines retreating in fear. Silence spread over the battlefield, broken only by the whispers of awe and relief. Kale stood tall, chest heaving, the broken spear glowing softly in his hands. He had done it. He had protected the village, and in that moment, he understood the full power of being chosen. The villagers rushed to him, embracing him, bowing to him. Their laughter had turned to cheers. Their doubt had turned to respect. Kale smiled, feeling the warmth of their gratitude. But he knew this was only the beginning. The spear had chosen him for more than just this battle. His journey as a protector had just begun. Kale looked to the horizon, where the first rays of sun kissed the mountains. The ancient law had guided him. The broken spear had taught him, and he had risen from the mocked boy of the village to the hero who defied fate. Kale was no longer forgotten. He was legend, and as he raised the spear high, the blue glow shining across the land, Kale felt a calm certainty. Whatever threats came next, he would face them, for he was the chosen protector, the forgotten hero, made legend by courage, faith, and the ancient law that had always believed in him.